Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Interviews with Entrepreneurs in South Africa. Today, I'm very excited to be introducing you to Charlene McKenzie. I met Charlene more than a decade ago, and I've followed her career for a long time. So I'm very excited today to be able to share her story. Charlene, if you'll tell us a little bit more about your business and why you started it.
Hi, Melanie. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a great initiative, and I'm very happy to be part of your story and what you're busy doing. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure.
Well, Tixsa, I am the CEO of Tixsa, and it almost happened by chance. I used to have a restaurant many years ago that did music, and I used Tixsa as a ticketing platform for the restaurant to sell for the bands, tickets online, etc. I became aware of how difficult it is to manage sales and people phoning you and saying, "Oh, they're coming," they'll be there, and then you've told the artist that you've got so many people coming, and then you all of a sudden end up with a table of 20 that hasn't arrived. So I needed a system that can be trusted, where people can do online sales easy enough, easy for the user, and I joined Tixsa. And then when I sold my venue, they approached me to come and assist and help with their business, which I'm so glad I did. It was just half day in the beginning, and then from there onwards, it just became my baby at the end of the day. And I think the reason why I enjoy it so much is I'm very fond of entertainment, of arts, of the music industry, entertainment industry, and I needed something that I can still do that, because that is what I love and why I get up in the mornings. But also I reached an age where the long hours of a restaurant just didn't agree with me anymore. You get older, you can't do the 2-3 o'clock in the mornings anymore. So this was the perfect fit for me. And also I think the people at Tixsa, they're all people that either had their own businesses or are in love with the industry, that understand people, from the support team straight through to the people on the ground who does the access management. You have to love events.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's going to be too difficult for you to handle, because it's a number 99 business.
Mm.
There are always something that is needed by the event organizer, especially if their event is happening over the weekend. So there's very little rest for the wicked when it comes to a ticketing company or events type of company. So Tixsa is prides itself that the software is tested, that it is robust. So that is my job. I need to make sure that whatever we put out there for the ticket buyer, that it is something that they can do with ease. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of money on developing user end um, um, smooth running of buying a ticket. So when you purchase a ticket, it is like a restaurant. When you enter a restaurant and you greet them, it needs to be friendly. It needs to be a great experience, because when they enter the restaurant and they sit down and something goes wrong with the steak or the drink that they've ordered, or it takes too long for the food to come out, you at least created a great experience in the beginning, and they will oversee some of the issues maybe,
Mm. Mm.
rather than being greeted in a bad way, not treated properly. The whole experience is a bad experience. And it's the same with when you buy a ticket online for an event. From buying that ticket to the support team that assists you with something that you needed assistance with, to the gate where you enter and being greeted by the team on the ground, where they scan your ticket, where you buy your ticket on the ground, and then entering the event. I think that is very important to have that process in place and to understand that, because the ticket buyer goes to the effort to purchase a ticket for your event. So the experience needs to be great up till the end of the event,
Mm.
and it starts with the ticketing. We are basically the window for our clients and our ticket buyers, and we promote it right from the start. So the first people they get in contact with will be the people that that handles the ticketing.
Mm.
And in order to run a business like this successfully, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. You need to understand what's happening in your business. It needs to be very hands-on. You cannot sit somewhere in an office and hope your team does the work. I think with any business, that is the success, is you have to have your finger on everything. You work the hardest. You know, when you run a company and it's your company, it is your baby, you work the hardest. If you sweep the floor, you need to know how to do it so that you can give the right instruction on how to sweep the floor properly. You know?
Yes, yes.
So I think understand it from the bottom up till where the developers are busy. I promise you, I've had to learn things so quickly about developing, about gateways, about all of these things. But you make an effort, you study it, even though you're not a developer or a coder, you need to understand what needs to happen. And I think that background information is something, if you're not that person, get some of the correct people on board. You know, make sure you get the best of the developers. People can know more than you do when you sit in this chair and run the business. Just get the right people on board. And I think that is quite important, is to make sure that the people you employ are the best.
Now, it sounds like you're a serial entrepreneur. First it was a restaurant and now it's Tixsa. What do you think is behind that? Did you have entrepreneurial parents?
Not at all. You know, I actually have parents. My dad was a doctor. My mom was a teacher. So we grew up in a house where you had to have your degree. You had to have a plan B and a stable situation. And I taught for a while. I used to be a teacher. And then I got married to an entrepreneur, actually. And we started a business in PE. I don't know if you remember the old Ellsbury frozen yogurt parlors.
Yes.
So we bought that franchise, and the first year we thought our ship came in. It was a beautiful summer, very seasonal type of business. And then the next December it rained, basically the whole December.
Yes.
So we opened an adjacent coffee shop to that so that we can keep the people warm and the tourists warm. So we had to think a little bit out of the box there, or just, you know, kind of like follow the next step that's going to work. And we sold, and then we purchased a pub in Centurion. It was the Steak and Ale, and because of our love for music, we eventually turned that into a music venue, and only alternative, because we love alternative music, and it had to be a band. We wanted to create something where people could just sit and watch a show and be close enough to that artist to interact with him, and we managed to get that right. It was a 16-year business that went very well. But also, you know, hands-on, being there all the time. And I think from there onwards, it's just difficult for me not to take something and build from that. During that time, we also started with a friend of mine, we started Moonprint Concerts for the Earth. So my love for teaching and education came in there a little bit. So what we did there, we recycled festivals, all their waste, and we got a team in that are recyclers, not necessarily pickers or cleaners, and we worked with people there. We created work for 30 people there on a monthly basis, and we basically recycled 95% of that festival's waste, so only 5% went to landfills. And to reach out to the communities, what we did is we went to schools, took the bands that I knew from the restaurant, and we went to sing for them and speak to them. And, you know, I can talk until I'm blue in the face about recycling and why we need to recycle and about earth and global warming. But if your favorite band or artist speaks to you, then the children listens. And then we also created sustainable businesses for recycling in rural areas, which was a great time of our lives. We ran it for 6 years with my friend. And that was just something that happened, you know. But I think if you have enough love, passion for something that you want to do, just do it. Just do it. the plan will fall into place and the rest will happen. Have a good lawyer on the side, maybe a friend that can help you. That's not going to cost you a fortune, to make sure that all your Article 18s and so forth is in place, and that you have a financial person. But it was just the two of us who ran that whole business, and it was fantastic. And I made use of service providers because I couldn't pay 30 people on a monthly basis, but we could get them in, give them a good income, and then a lot of the recycling went to them as well to recycle. So they made a lot of money out of that. And we could sustain that plan quite well, and we could make something out of it as well.
That's amazing. I love hearing how you are responding to market needs to find new things to do, and that you keep reinventing yourself.
Yes, you have to, especially now with this lockdown with us that's been eventing, our sales also stopped, besides the people who can't perform, the ticketing companies are sitting with a real dilemma, because there just aren't any events happening. So you very quickly had to reinvent, and a lot of us went to virtual streaming and online streaming, Zoom calls, webinars. And luckily for us, our ticketing system integrates very well with certain platforms. So we could make that whole process streamlined as well. But it isn't easy. We tried to current events that were happening, we tried to turn them into virtual events, but you can't turn all of them into virtual events. It's not possible, so you have to think out of the box. And now this need at the moment is food. So how do you get food to people? So we're working on that with food vouchers, with NGOs, to get food to people on a reliable basis, so that, when you actually do purchase that voucher, that you, instead of sending money to someone, you can send them a food voucher, and they can go collect that food voucher at a safe depot, for instance, and they will get the food. So I think that is, so there's all kinds of things that can happen. Even shopping malls, we are trying to assist shopping malls with queuing systems, so that they can, we as a purchaser or a consumer can purchase a time slot, for instance, to go to your shopping mall. So there's a lot of things that you're working on. Not everything works, but you have to keep on trying, and see how you can create income and save your own people with their jobs. So it is. I've never worked so hard in my life at this stage in time. I promise you, because you're so scared you miss something, and you have to go out there and see how people are doing it. What are the options?
Yes.
Do drive-in festivals. There's a whole bunch of things, and that is the exciting thing, actually. So with the little sleep, it is very exciting for me to think of all these things that I wouldn't have thought previously, because it was too easy just to sell and have an event.
Yes.
And now you've got to think a little bit out of the box, and there's fantastic ideas. The team is on board. Everybody's coming up with wonderful ideas on how to sell a ticket, and to make business. And besides of that as well, I think is to reach out and to see, like you say, where there is a need. How can we as a company assist with what we have, and make life a little bit better for someone else?
I think that's amazing. I love the idea of your food vouchers. I know
Yes,
there are
yes.
a lot of people at the moment who are wanting to reach out and support people around them, but
Yes.
with our country's history of corruption, a lot of people are afraid to spend money
Yes.
on NGOs and things like that. So I think it's wonderful that you're
Exactly.
setting up that kind of a channel to
Yeah,
support
we'll
that
launch it
process.
soon. I know there are a lot of people that does food vouchers, but we would like to do it a little bit differently. So we're launching that soon. I will keep you, give you a bit of a heads up when we launch that. So maybe we can have a discussion on that in specific.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be a great solution for just everybody who is busy helping with soup kitchens at the moment. There's a lot of people
Yes.
out there that's doing it, but it's becoming a little bit dangerous as well in certain areas. So
Yes.
we would like to try and work with NGOs to help us with that, where people can go to and collect their and even, if you're domestic workers, for instance, farm workers, you want to give them something instead of money, maybe, for them. So we want to not only involve companies and corporates, but also every household. If you want to buy vouchers for your students and your kids at varsity, and they can collect it at a safe place, and send them the voucher rather than money. I think that is something that could work well and will work well.
So these changes that are happening in your business right now in response to COVID, do you see them falling away when we come out of lockdown, or do you see them taking over from the old business model?
I don't think it's going to take over, but it's definitely going to be part of it. We will keep on having live streaming events, live streaming concerts. It's going to take a while for theatres to fill up, and venues to fill up. People will be a little bit, although you will get people that's going to stream to them, to the actual live events, you will get people, older people maybe, who would not want to go, So let's say, for instance, a theatre is now allowed to have 50 people. There will be social distancing, but you can still record that event,
Yes.
and sell the rest of your tickets online. So I don't think it's going to go away at all. I think it's going to stay. It is something new. It's something special. It's something different. Even with with the people who's a bit scared of driving, now at least you can purchase a ticket for your favorite artist and watch the show instead of having to go to the venue if you're not close to the venue and you've got to go to Joburg from Pretoria, for instance.
Yes.
So I think the safety factor, specifically in South Africa, that is definitely something that's going to stay. That's my opinion, but I think it's going to stay.
No, and I think that's amazing because I can now attend a Joburg concert all the way from Uniondale.
Exactly, yes.
So it actually unlocks the market almost. It makes it broader rather than narrowing it down.
I think so. It gives the artist or the comedian a chance as well to sell more tickets. It's not just for that evening, and the people who could be there. It's also maybe for 72 hours after that show, and also you reach your overseas market, because let's say you do have a show at 5 o'clock. Not everybody can lock in then. If you sit in Holland or Belgium or somewhere else. So you can have the opportunity, if the show is available for 72 hours, you can then have those ticket sales as well. So I think it actually doubles ticket sales at the end of the day. I do think, though, that all of there's a lot of crappy shows happening everywhere. People trying to earn money. So I think you'll have to up your game as an artist. You'll have to do it professionally. You have to rehearse for your show. You have to make sure that your streaming is done properly, that you use the right platform for streaming, that the buffering issues are sorted. So I think eventually that is going to be the norm, is you won't be able to just sell or use a donation platform just to fumble around. It will have to be something professional.
Yes. So if I'm planning a live streaming event, then how do I approach Tixsa? What's the process to set it all up? What are the costs involved?
Okay, so the costs differ obviously from artist to artist and show to show. It all depends on the type of video. Do we have to go out and do the streaming and do the recordings for you and the production for you? Do you send us an already edited program that we simply just upload for you, or do you want us to edit it? And then obviously ticketing fees apply and streaming fees apply. And we work with Watcha TV at this stage, which is they're doing amazing work for us. They've got excellent developers, and the whole ticketing system is integrated with Watcha TV. And then we also make use of YouTube, of course, and we handle the streaming for you. We also make use of a production company, Dusk to Dawn. They do a lot of virtual events for us where they go and do, let's say, tours, like a museum tour or something that you would want to do. They go out, do the footage, do the script for you, and you can then put your, and we embed on your website, if you have a website, for tours specifically, where there's a continuous purchasing of tickets of people who want to watch an educational tour or a museum tour, for instance. So they can please reach out to me. My email address is charlene@tixsa.co.za. I'm happy to give my phone number as well. It's 072-274-6241. I will make sure you get into the contact with the right people. We'll quote accordingly, and we would love to help you make your situation better and give you that opportunity to live stream.
That's wonderful. And what about all the free live streaming platforms? How do those affect what you're doing?
So that is, it doesn't affect us in any way, actually. So basically what you do there is, there is a lot of free streaming, but if they do go through a ticketing company like Tixsa, for instance, they have the ability to sell a ticket, or they have the ability to have a donation platform. We do a lot of pay what you want type of ticket sales. We also have a donation platform or a fundraiser platform where we waive all our ticket fees, just the transaction fees applies, where they can also, for, let's say, for a charity with their show, they can ask people to pay money in for that, or for themselves for that matter. And the difference between that and just doing it on Facebook Live and just using a code is you get the data. You get the name, the surname, the email address. And I think that is important, because you want to go back to them and say thank you to them. And you want to have that data for your next show and your next live show, for instance.
Yes.
So when you do the live shows, make sure that you do have a system where you can actually collect proper data.
Yes, yes, that's great.
And
That
we do
sounds
that with a lot of artists, actually, where they use our system, and it makes a big difference. Every week we can go back to those people who've purchased, and we can say thank you to them, and we can reconnect with them for the next show, for instance. So it just makes it easier. And as you know, from way back, our ticketing platform allows for pulling reports. You've got complete access to your ticketing. It is a complete private label system, so you can load your own events. You can go see how the financial forms looks like. Everything we do for you financially is also available on the back end of your system. So there's no hidden costs. It's a very open system. You can link with all your social media. We've got 12 social media accounts that you can link with if you have an account with one of them, like for instance, Google Analytics, Facebook, Twitter. So the marketing dashboard on the back end also allows you really to connect with your fan base, you know, in that sense. And you have control over your ticketing, and you have control over your data. We do not share your data with X, Y, and Z. It is your data, and you can speak to those people. There's even an email blaster at the back end of your ticketing system where you can speak to them. Let's say, for instance, something happens and there's a power failure, or there's load shedding. All of a sudden now, for your Sunday live streaming event on Facebook, you can tell everybody who has already purchased the ticket, send them a little email and an SMS, and say to them, okay, we're going to move it on to 8 o'clock and not have it at 7 o'clock. So there's a lot of, we work very hard in that interconnection with the clients at the back end with you. And also for you as a client to do it yourself. You do not have to wait for us to do it. You can do it yourself. There's no 2-week wait period to fix something or to change an event. You simply go in and you do it yourself.
that's wonderful, convenient functionality. Now, if there's somebody watching who's kind of, well, I'd like to do these kinds of events, but maybe I've only got a small network, only 4 or 5 people are going to show up for my event. Do you encourage them to join you and build a network that way?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nobody is too small or too big for Tixsa. Really, it is honestly. We've had people with a very low ticket sale who has moved up to giving us 100,000 tickets a year. You know,
Wow.
it's just the timing is. Even if you have a situation where you do webinars and you work on 10 or 15 people at a time, you're still building your database.
Yes.
You know, where everything is in one place, and you have that data, and it's targeted data.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, that is important data. It's all about data these days.
Yes. Yes. It sounds like you've pulled a lot of stuff together in a very, very user-friendly way.
We're trying, you know, we're developing literally every 2 weeks, we're adding something new, you know, so, but it is the only way to stay ahead in this. The ticketing industry is a very competitive industry.
Yes.
And, you know, to buy a ticket is not difficult these days, you know, but you've got to offer them something additional if you want that sale and you want that client.
Yes. Okay, so Charlene, I notice we are running out of time. If anybody is looking for you, I know. If anybody is looking for you online, where should they find you?
Okay, they can go to our website, www.tixsa.co.za, and Tixsa is spelled Tixsa. they're more than happy to contact me directly, Charlene at tixsa.co.za. And please feel free to phone me on my number 072 274 6241. And I will divert you to whichever department is for you, or I will handle you myself.
Okay, and for those who are watching, it's Charlene, spelled Charlene. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for giving us some of your time today and an insight into what you're doing. I think it sounds fantastic. It sounds like a fantastic tool. And I haven't visited Tixsa in a while, but after this conversation, I'm certainly going to go and have another look.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Melanie. It's wonderful connecting with you again and speaking to you. It's been too long. Thank you so much again for this opportunity and for what you're doing here and giving us a platform. It is much appreciated.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I love hearing how South African entrepreneurs are reinventing themselves. And
Yeah, it is fantastic.
I love that you are taking this COVID-19 thing on as an opportunity to grow and not an opportunity to just sit there and go, well, we've been defeated.
Yeah.
It's all over now.
No, not by a long shot.
Well done.
As you are doing. And I've got such a lot of admiration for what you do as well. So well done with all your businesses and your entrepreneurial spirit. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.